Welcome back, Rankers. So during the week, there was a story in one of Australia's larger papers, which isn't actually a paper, it's an online site called the Sydney Morning Herald. It's a wee paper out of Sydney. Story by journalist Ben Grubb. And, oh geez, these the headlines, they kill me. SEO services subject to many complaints, warns Fair Trading Office. And look, I get it. I understand why. I made a quick search of, say, Whirlpool forums in Australia. Sorry. I just saw an ad for a company that's getting complained about on this particular page, and they're advertising on this particular page. Anyway, which is pretty funny. Anyway, you see complaints and complaints, and Whirlpool forums is one of Australia's forums, biggest forums, probably, I would say. And you can see here there's, hundreds and hundreds of people complaining about various SEO companies and practices and all sorts of things. And look, this isn't new. It's like a quick search of Google here. You can see, is there such a thing as reputable SEO? That hurts. It really hurts. Nah, no, it doesn't really. 19th of January 2009. It's been going on forever, right? Well, as long as SEO's been around. So that article was basically, a summary of some of the complaints that were made against certain companies, and there were some quotes in there from the New South Wales Fair Trading Commissioner, Rod Stowe. And that was the only part of the article that I guess I had an issue with, which is business listings on some search engines are free and take very little time to set up. Now, I appreciate he's been, probably not misquoted, but he's probably talking on the phone, talking on the fly, and all those sorts of things. A lot of people might read that and go, really? That's free? Well, yeah. So I got into this conversation with Ben Grubb, the author of the article, and where are a few Artisan Wine Storage, Mr. Artisan Wine Storage to you and I, about the article in the SEO. And my issue that I had with that particular quote was that, yeah, it's free to set up, say, your Google places, like Ben's pointed it out here somewhere in this conversation. And it is free. However, you can really bugger it up badly. Much the same way as, if you wanted to, I don't know, tune your own car or try to repair your own watch. It's free to do those things. You can bugger it up, though, and you can bugger up Google Places pretty well. We've seen it buggered up a lot. Or you can get it right if you know what you're doing. But my point here is that all of SEO is actually free. If you do it yourself, and you define free, how many hours you're going to put into that versus working on other things in your business. If you do it wrong, and if you follow a lot of the practices that you read about on the web for people trying to rank for things like great SEO, not all of them, you can get yourself in big trouble. And I'll give you a case in point. These guys, I'm not going to tell you who they are, smart web developers, and we took over back in, I don't know, it was probably around October, no, it's probably earlier than that. Anyway, ranking really, really low for this phrase, and they used to rank really, really high for this phrase in their particular town. And you can see here they were 260. Now, they got hit by Penguin, and these guys are smart web developers. They're smart web designers, great people. But they just looked at what Google was rewarding at the time, which was, buying backlinks, getting backlinks from crummy sites, getting backlinks from, submitting articles, all those sorts of things that used to work back in, say, 2006, 2007, and then the writing started to be on the wall about 2008, 2009, that Google were going to clamp down pretty hard on this. Anyway, they have been in the depths of Google hell for the last 3-4 months. And we've pretty much done everything we can. We disavowed all their links probably 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, something like that. And we said to Google, please ignore all these lists. Please forgive us. We're sorry. And nothing. Crickets. And then just last week, from 129... they're back up at number 7 now, and they're continuing to climb, and a lot of other phrases have come back in. The organic traffic from Google over the last week is actually more than double what it was the previous week when they were down in these depths for a whole range of phrases. And these are guys who knew what they were doing. Okay, so yes, SEO is free, but as I thought Artisan Wine Storage pointed out on Twitter, he made a good point. He said, you know, get educated, get your hands dirty. That's not a bad idea. Get a referral from someone, or try it, but don't. Whatever you do, try to learn the tricks of SEO. All right. There's two things to SEO. The first thing is you need to be a publisher. That's a biggie, right? And you need to consider yourself to be a publisher. I had a couple of clients in here yesterday who had been through the same Google hell. They're about to start with tomorrow. And basically I spent most of my time trying to explain to this, who was a photographer actually, you know, why you need to become a publisher. And he's a commercial, industrial photography, that sort of thing. And he said, well, yeah, but why do people want to read about, you know, what I took a photo? I said, it's not that the people who read the content that you're talking about and the photo shoots that you did are necessarily your customers, but they'll share that content. They'll come back to that content. They might know a friend who's looking for a photographer of your ilk, and they'll suggest you because you're the authority, because you publish on a regular basis, and these people really love your work. So that's what I talk about that's what I mean by saying become a publisher, because this then feeds your social, and it also feeds your search. More content you publish, the more keywords you have on your site, therefore the more highly you'll rank. So the first side of SEO is you've got to become a publisher. The second side of SEO is all the technical stuff, and the the technical stuff is about how does Google see your site. And for most sites that we look at, some issues, usually, for most sites. Speed, as we've talked about before. We look at this, index status of this site, 2.2 million pages as of February this year. And back here, though, it's improved because it was 4.4 million back in October last year when they first came to us, and we said, they didn't. This, by the way, these guys didn't end up being a client. We just said, look, you need to do this or rebuild your site. You need to fix all these things or rebuild your site. They didn't have the budget to rebuild their site, so they've decided to go it alone. You can see here they've had some success, but you can see the problems are coming back here. And that's what can happen. You know, I don't mean to say a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, but a lot of knowledge is usually better, is my point. The other thing, when you go and have a look at say in this site, the crawl errors, you can see here that, oh look, we've got 323,000 404s. And you can see here there's been some success. They're starting to come down, which is good. But the problem with most of these errors is that they're all inside the site. So Google's seeing that the site is full of errors. So why does it want to send its users to a site that's full of errors? As someone here pointed out the other day, explained actually yesterday, he said, Google is competing for clients against Bing and Yahoo. And to do that, they have to produce great results and send their users to great sites for those results. So you've got to be a great publisher, and you've got to have a spick and span, tidy site that you're updating on a regular basis, that people are giving you backlinks to your great content, and that it's fast. It's a pleasant experience. I mean, I hate to think what the smartphone errors are like. Oh, not so bad. Feature phone errors, not so bad. So, but all these other errors, these are just disaster, absolute disaster area. And, you know, when you go and have a look at, say, some of the speed stuff, you know, you can get some of these things right, but you can see here, these guys probably don't even know this. I mean, you look at this graph here. This is crawl stats. You can see here that there's been this massive drop in the pages that are getting crawled per day by Google. There's been a massive drop in the kilobytes that are being downloaded per day by Google. And this is all around halfway through January. And then you can see here, there's been this massive spike in the time it takes to download a page, all on the same day. Now, these guys, unfortunately, for them and for us, are not clients. And so, you know, I look at that and I think, damn, you're doing it yourselves. You're having a red hot go. You've got smart people on board. But like fixing a watch or tuning your car, unless you've got the in-depth knowledge across thousands and thousands of cars or watches, it's going to be difficult. So, yes, SEO is free. No two ways about it. But you've got to look at the word free and, what's the cost of opportunity and all these other things. And have a look at this. So you got all those things there. I just want to see if that date coincides. So we're saying the 13th of January. And when we have a look at the Google Index, 13th of January, bang. Yep, there it goes. So you can see there is cause and effect. I'm seeing kilobytes downloaded has decreased. Pages per day crawled has decreased. At the same time, the site speed has more than doubled. And on that same day, we've got an extra 400,000 pages in a space of a couple of days. And these are guys with smart, technical people on board. Anyway, so I understand that story. There's a lot of people out there that do not give our industry a good name. But yes, I agree with Artisan Wine Storage. You need to get your hands dirty at least to try to understand these things. But above everything else, become a publisher, have a content strategy, and then make sure that everything else with your site's running well. Hopefully that's helpful. We'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.